that John Beilein probably doesn't have. Also, there is rumors swirling around Kyrie that teams are more weary of adding Kyrie to the team. I think this is just a rumor. I don't think there's any legs, feet, hands to this story because Kyrie's going to give it to you on the court. All the other stuff in the background, all that other stuff, that was not just Kyrie's fault. That was a problem with the Celtics as a whole. From the top on down, handling who plays where, bringing in Gordon Hayward, all that stuff did not have to do with Kyrie. Part of it could be on Kyrie, but not all of it. I think that's a crap story. I think whatever team Kyrie goes to, he will definitely contribute and he will be an all-star whatever team he goes to. Shout out to Antoine Smitty Smith in the building. Got a great YouTube page. Go find him on YouTube, the Smitty Sports Machine. Thank you for tuning in. So, you know, when it comes down to it, whatever team Kyrie goes to, I see Kyrie making an impact. All the off-the-court stuff, like I just said, that is not all on him. You cannot blame signing Gordon Hayward to that large deal and him scoring 2 points on Kyrie. You cannot do that. So I think that's a crap story. All right, so we're getting very close to the NBA Awards, which will be on June the 24th, and the finalists have been announced for the MVP, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved Player, also Coach of the Year. So I'm going to go down the list here, and I want you guys to put in the chat room who you think is going to win which award. I will also put mine out there because obviously it's my show and I need to put my opinion on it too. But Rookie of the Year, Luka Doncic, Trae Young, DeAndre Ayton. To me, this is very easy. It's Luka. Luka was consistent the whole year. Trae Young came on like a hot ball of fire in the second half. But the Rookie of the Year is about the whole year, not just the second half, not just after the All-Star break, not just the 3 quarters end of his season. So I'm going with Luka there. Put that in the chat. Put that in the chat room who you have. Luka, Trae Young, DeAndre Ayton. We can already scratch DeAndre Ayton off. This is a 2-player race right here. I think we've talked about this a couple times on the show. Kyrie might as well head to the Clippers, says Antoine. Giannis for MVP. Trae Young, Rookie of the Year. Young, Rookie of the Year. Giannis, MVP. Okay, so how did I know? How did I know that Mo Cheese and Antoine Smitty Smith would pick Trae Young? Both of them in Georgia. Okay, so that's a little bias. Okay, am I right? That's a little bias there. Mine will be a little biased too. I'm in Dallas. So I want to hear from the people that are not in Georgia or in Dallas. Here comes UGA 11 talking about Young. So that's one of the awards. The other one, Most Improved Player. This could go either way right here. D'Angelo Russell, Pascal Siakam, and De'Aaron Fox. To me, this is a 2-player race. D'Angelo Russell, Pascal Siakam. I'm leaning towards Pascal because of just his play over the playoffs, but you really can't factor in the playoffs. It's got to be before the playoffs. So in that case, I'm going to go with D'Angelo Russell for Most Improved Player. He single-handedly helped Brooklyn get to the playoffs. Now, they lost, obviously, but I think he was a major contributor in getting them to the playoffs. Mo says, once a Laker, always a Laker. So I'm going with Russell. And then MVP, Giannis, Paul George, James Harden. We're not factoring in the playoffs. I'm still going with James Harden. The MVP award, let's not fool ourselves, it's a stats award. It is not about anything else. So I'm going with James Harden. I think the numbers that he put up this year is unrecognizable and cannot be overlooked. Giannis has done a great job. Giannis is in a close second to me. I'm going with James Harden for the MVP, though. Russell, comeback player of the year. Lakers made a huge mistake, which Magic talked about that. Magic talked about that on the interview on First Take, which basically Stephen A. Smith just said, what happened that caused you to leave? And Magic just let it spill. He let it go. He wasn't stuttering. He wasn't like, well, maybe, possibly. No, he put it all out there. But he talked about the situation. He talked about the situation with Russell. And he said with D'Angelo Russell. And basically with him, with the Swaggy P situation, he just felt like that he had to trade him. Which I get it. I get it. Because you don't need any turmoil in your locker room at all. If they kept Russell, there would have been no Lonzo. They would have brought in Tatum or someone else. Giannis is in Milwaukee alone. Harden has much better team around him. Yes, Smitty, but I had to be done. We don't take snitching lightly around here, and Rob should be fired as soon as possible. Yeah, but guess what, though? Guess what, Mo? That's probably not going to happen because Rob and Jeannie Buss seem to be like best friends. And when you become best friends with your boss, in a lot of situations, it's going to be extremely hard for that person to fire you. And I think that's what Rob Pelinka has put himself in, that type of situation. Ace-Rap says Harden. Shelly B, thank you for tuning in. She says the Greek Freak. Mocha says the Greek Freak. Yeah, it is. That is going to be an interesting race. I'm okay with either one because I know either one has done everything possible to get their team to where they wanted it to go. But me personally, I'm just leaning towards Harden. I think Harden has done enough. At the end of the day, I think he has done enough to win the MVP. This will be back-to-back MVPs for him. But Giannis has done his thing, man, and it's showing in the playoffs, too. He had a bad game last night, but Giannis will 100% redeem himself. Believe that. He will not go into this next game. He will not go into this next game and score 12 points. I guarantee you that. And if I'm wrong, I will come back on here and correct it. Giannis for MVP. Says Courtney, seems like Giannis is more so being named MVP in this chat room. Coach of the year. So I need to look up the Coach of the Year candidates. But I know one of them is Budenholzer. The other one is Mark Malone. And then the third one is Doc Rivers. Any one of those three could win this. Mike Malone, what he's been able to do with Denver has been crazy. They almost made it to the conference finals. You also got to factor in Budenholzer coming in year one, and I believe this is year one, and Milwaukee's in the Eastern Conference Finals. Doc Rivers got a Clippers team that everybody counted out, including myself, to the playoffs. And punched the Warriors in the nose a couple times. So this is a kind of a stack three right here. If I had to pick one out of the three, I think I'm gonna go with Doc Rivers because this team, coaching this team up with Patrick Beverley, and a bunch of other people. I can't really name that many people off the Clippers. So that alone, the team he was able to take to the playoffs, I got to give it to Doc Rivers. Coach Bud, best record in the NBA. LeBron went to the wrong LA team. That's what it's looking like right about now. Coach B says, Mocha, while I like Malone, I'm not as impressed as I am with the others because he almost made the playoffs last season. And it's going to be a close race, I think, between Doc Rivers and Budenholzer. But I just think the team that Doc Rivers got to the playoffs, they were looked down on. They were placed as a team that had no way of making it to the playoffs. They traded away Tobias Harris. They don't have Jamal Crawford. They don't have some of those players that they had in the past, and they still made it to the playoffs. Now, it was on the hair of their chins, but hey, it doesn't matter. You make it to the playoffs, you make it to the tourney. That's what it comes down to. So, I forgot Lou Will. You got to count. Lou Will is the best sixth man. Patrick Beverley, Gallinari, Montrezl Harrell, which he did a very good job in the playoffs. Wilson Chandler, which you didn't see him getting that much run, and that's it. Like, that's it. Okay, we're talking about one All-Star. I believe Lou Will made the All-Star team. Everybody else is extras. That's in those movies when you see the credits, and it has like John Williams sitting on a park bench. He had a bunch of those guys. So I got to give it to Doc Rivers. Doc did more with less, but Coach Bud went wire to wire as number one. Good point, Mo. Doc Rivers plus traded Tobias Harris, still made the playoffs. Shout out to Easy Does It in the building. Shared the show. Have a great show. Appreciate you. Coach Bud said Galloway. King James should go back to the Cavs. Lakers are a mess, and know what I'm saying. He will never go back to Cleveland unless it's like his last year, and Gilbert is not the owner anymore. I don't see him going back to Cleveland. Is Lou the best sixth man of all time? He has the most points. He's been very, very consistent. I would say yes. Well, but there's a lot of other great ones, though, too. So I don't want to diminish all those other ones. Jamal Crawford, too. Shout out to Big L. Thank you for tuning in. But Lou Will, when he comes in the game, it is a instant spark. The teammates play well around him, and I think you could put Lou Will up there. I think you definitely could. And he's got the most points. So, I mean, I'm a stats guy, and I think having the most points should put you up there, if not the best. So that is some of the Ginobili best sixth man of all time. But Ginobili also started a huge part of his career, though, too. You know, Lou Will wasn't that. I don't think he was a starter for that long. So that's NBA. Let's move over to some NFL news from this weekend. You're tuned into the Weekend Wrap-Up Show. I'm your host, Ben, a.k.a. BS3. And also get ready for your Benny Awards. Put those in the chat room. If you're listening in the background, thank you so much. But I would urge you to join into the chat room. It gets interactive. I will shout you out. Your comments are valid. I will not read your cuss words. I will not do that. But I will read every other word but that one. But you can come in, comment, create a profile. It's definitely worth a listen, I think. And love to hear you guys' opinion. All right, so the Jets reportedly are considering pursuing Peyton Manning. That was on Saturday. Bleacher Report just comes out with a story that the Jets are not eyeing Peyton Manning. New York planning on taking Peyton Manning for open GM role, despite reports. So they're not looking at Peyton Manning. Okay, here's the thing on Peyton Manning, which I think the Jets are looking at everything. So I don't really care if they say they're not looking at it. The Jets have to look at every possibility because you don't have anyone. So they can put whatever story they want out there. I think everyone's looking at Peyton Manning for coaching jobs, for GM jobs, for commentating jobs, and he's turned down all of them. So I think Peyton Manning just wants to chill at the house and watch TV. I don't think Peyton Manning wants any of these jobs because if he did,